Hello dear students, I am Prabhat Dubey from LPM Public School Gula Bazar. I am your BST teacher and today we will discuss about the need or importance of coordination. Yesterday we studied about coordination. What is coordination and what type of functions are assimilated in coordination. Why coordination is needed in any organization is our prime goal for today. As we discussed that there are different types of departments, and in each department there is a team of person who are from different background, different religious beliefs, different nationality as well, different creed, caste. Okay, so to make a team with synchronized efforts is a challenging job for the manager has to coordinate with each and every person who is working in his team, and to make them work as a unit is a utmost challenge before them. As you know that there is a urgent need of sticking towards the organizational goal, the mission and vision of the company that is set by the chairman or the owner of the business is to be followed. Each and every step that is being taken in the company should always make the company reach towards the organizational goal. If your efforts are deviating from the path, then you are not coordinating with the organizational goal. Okay, sometimes it happens that different types of specialists are hired who are highly educated, and they think that their own concept, their own thinking is superior to all of other employees. Such type of thinking will result in chaos and conflict, and if there is conflict in the organization, then coordination will be collapsed. Okay, so as it is mentioned in the first bullet point, what is the need of coordination? It integrates the efforts of individuals, departments and specialists. All the efforts are integrated and the cumulative effort results in achievement of the organizational goal with efficiency and effectiveness. That is being discussed since the first lecture. It harmonizes individuals and organizational goals. As we know that each and every person who is working in any organization or institution is given a goal objective. Sometimes the individual goals are fulfilled, but the effort that is being made by that individual is not capable enough to make the organizational goal achieved. Okay, so if there is any chaos or any conflict or any person is deviating from the right path, then it is duty of the expert, duty of the manager to make that person realize that his efforts should always contribute in achievement of the organizational goal. The organizational goal should not be compromised at any cost. Okay, the sole objective is to synchronize the efforts. What is achievement and what is the personal remarkable goals that are achieved by an individual is considerable, but the organizational goal is not to be compromised. Okay, and if any individual thinks that he is the superior person and he can dominate the team or he can dominate the colleagues, such type of thinking is to be eradicated out. So the first need of coordination. Why coordination is needed? Need of coordination increases with increase in size of the organization. As you know that if the size is increasing, the number of people who are working in any department or any institution increase, and if the number of people is increasing, to control and direct a vast team is also a very tedious job, because if the number of people is increasing, the ideas and the thinking of the people is diverse. As you know that human emotion and human decision making is the most diverse thing on this earth. You cannot know that what will be the decision of any particular person in any particular circumstances. It depends on the thinking, the emotional content, psychology of the person. That's why management concepts are implemented in different ways. That's why management is called an inexact science, because the principles of science are applicable to anywhere in the same manner, but the principles of management are dynamic. They imbibe the change. The decision is taken on the basis of the political, technological, social, and financial atmosphere of that country where the company is in operation. So it is very important to coordinate the efforts if the size of the team is huge. Suppose any multinational company whose global presence makes it very tedious, because nationality is also different. In multinational company, persons of different birthplace are working. The language is also a barrier. If the workforce is not proficient in English, there would be a communication gap. And if there is a communication gap, then the message would not be forwarded, the message would not be conferred with proper meaning, and it will result in chaos and conflict. Okay, that's why the top management, middle management, and lower management, the manager is made proficient in international language. At least he should be proficient in English. And if you are knowing the local language as well, if you're working in Germany and you know German, it will also provide you an extra edge. That's why the people who are involved in international business or international trade are told to at least learn 2 or 3 languages, like the major developing countries and the major developed countries. If an Indian is working in UK, English is sufficient enough, or in USA. But if he is working in Germany, Japan, Russia, China, then the local language will always provide him an edge over others. To assimilate functional differentiations, as we know that there is functional differentiation due to presence of different departments like marketing, finance, HR, as we discussed yesterday. Synchronization of efforts of various departments is also a very challenging job for the top level management. Okay, because every departmental head, if he is of balanced mind, then he will coordinate very easily. But if that person is arrogant, he thinks that only his decision is to be implemented and rest of the departmental heads are junior to him, or they lack the proficiency, they are not of highly educated background, then conflict and chaos will always result. So the chances of conflict and chaos in educated person is more if you compare the conflict and chaos that results in the lower category employees, like the daily laborers or the semi-skilled or unskilled workforce. They will always stick to the rules that are being framed by the top level and middle level management. But the person who are working in middle level are highly educated person. So the educated person will not easily follow the rules that are being meant for them. They will always put some cross questions. They will always try to add their own opinion and their own thinking. Such type of decision making that is inspired by your personal thinking is always injurious for the health of the organization or institutions. So if you are working in an organization, you have to show your proficiency and your knowledge only in coordination of the efforts that are being made by your rest of the colleagues. If you are always busy in emphasizing your own points, then you will be a liability for the company. Each and every person who is working in any institution need to be an asset. You have to contribute for the development of the company or institution. Then only you are worthy enough to be in that organization. Last one is to mitigate chaos and confusion from specialists. If there is any chaos or conflict, the top level management and the middle level management will always help the lower level of management in solving that issue. If the issue is small, the lower level of management will handle it. But if there is any conflicting issue that is beyond control of the lower level of management, then the top level will involve themselves in removing that conflict or chaos. If there is long term chaos or conflict in the organization, then it will hamper the achievement of organizational goal. And if the organization fails in achievement of its clear objectives, then the existence of that company will be compromised. The huge investment that is made in infrastructure, procurement of raw material, procurement of sophisticated machineries, all these things will go in vain. So the specific job of the any business manager at any level is ensure proper utilization of the resources of the company. If the resources are going in vain, it is loss of the company. Okay, so any business manager at any level should always ensure that each and every rupee that is being spent in the company should always work in some profit generating activity. If that money is not generating any profit, that is complete waste. So we have studied about the need of coordination, and from this discussion your chapter 1 is completed. Okay, in this chapter we have seen different aspects of management, what is the nature of management, what are the functions, why management is needed in your organization or institution, what type of activities are involved, what type of decision making is involved, and how to provide training, research and development, how to take proper procurement of materials, how to create brand awareness. Okay, such type of things have been discussed. So you have to prepare yourself to tackle the challenges that is to come your way when you will be appointed as a business manager. We have seen management's nature. Management is science, arts or profession. And we have seen that management is an art while inexact science, and is on the verge of being a profession. Okay. What are the different activities that are involved at different level of management? The levels of management, what is the hierarchy of any management team? Okay, what are the different activities of top level, middle level and lower level managers? Planning, organizing, staffing, directing and controlling, and how each and every work is related with each other. How any business manager who is involved in planning and organizing need to take care of the staffing and directing and controlling by the lower level as well. If the top level is not having proper control on the subordinates, then the direction and control of that organization will go down. Okay, so if anyone is having any problem in understanding any concept that is being taught by me, he can consult me. Okay, pay proper consideration to the concepts that are being taught, it will make a base for you. After 12th you will be employable if the concepts are clear. Accounts, economics, if everything is clear, you are on the verge of being employed. And after BCom you will get some secure and prestigious job in any institution or organization. In the next chapter we will study about principles of management. Okay, and we will compare management with pure science. We will compare management principles with management techniques. We will also compare management principle with the values of company, nature, feature and characteristics of management principles. So be prepared. Okay, go through the chapter 2nd, and in the next lecture we will start it. Everyone should be clear about the definition of management. How can you know that management is applied? As you know that management is intangible. You can feel if there is efficient management in any organization, the things will be in order. As you know that management is a process. Different types of activities, different types of steps are involved at each and every moment in any organization. So if efforts are in synchronized manner, you will get the feel of management. it is general saying, people say that the things are properly managed, this institution is properly managed. It means that the manager is taking proper care of each and every resource, each and every workforce who is working towards achievement of the organizational goal. Okay, so from this discussion I am ending this chapter first. We will meet tomorrow and start chapter second. Okay, thanks.